Alright, in this profile screen, the only thing I really want to show you is how to create this bend right here in the top portion of the screen. And then maybe we'll draw out the profile image. But in addition, you'll notice that if you look closely at this, you got kind of a pattern, like a stripe pattern here. And I want to show you how to do that as well. And I went out and grabbed like just a plain striped wallpaper pattern from HomeDepot.com of all places. So to get this started, let's draw out a rectangle. And I want to draw it till I get to this point right here, in line with that. Once I have that, I'm going to double click, and I'm just going to add a point right here. So I'm going to click and drag. I'm going to drag it down until I get to roughly about the bottom of there. And as you're dragging it, you want to make sure you get that smart guide pop up so that it's centered. Okay, so we've got that there. And I'm not going to change the color just yet. Before I do that, I'm going to drag this guy over the top of it. And that's good. Over here in my layers panel, this is my striped background. I'm going to drag that above my rectangle. I'm going to select both of these guys, and now I'm going to mask it. Alright, so I've got that there. Go back into my layers panel. I'm going to drop this down, and all I want to select is my pattern here. I'll come over here to the fills, and I'm going to apply a gradient. So let's select a gradient. And in terms of reference points, you'll notice that the gradient here is going from upper left, because it's darkest up here, to the bottom right. That's where it's the brightest. So let's drag this over here, right there, and let's drag this guy down to the bottom. With this bottom point selected, let's get that lighter blue. And select this top portion, let's get that darker section up at the top, like so. Okay, we're good there. I'm going to click off. Now, let's open up our fills again. What we want to do is drop down the alpha so we can see that pattern behind. And I'm just going to do a little bit. It won't take much. So maybe about to 95. And now you can start to see that pattern peek through. That's an easy way to kind of give it a textured look. All right, lastly, let's just draw out a profile image here. I'm going to hit O for oval on my keyboard, hold down Alt-Shift, draw one out, maybe about that size, probably a little bit bigger, but that's fine. Let's come up here to Data. Let's get a face. I'm not sure what we're going to get. I'll come over here to the Inspector, select Fit. There we go. Now it also looks like there's a tiny little white border. Let's do that as well. I'll add a border, make it white. Maybe we'll make it, yeah, let's go white, and then just drop down the alpha because it is kind of subtle. There we go, and that's pretty much all I'm going to do for this section. Okay, in our next one, we've got a profile design from Redesign Case. This is one I found just doing a Google search, and the reason I picked this is because it uses something that I've seen in a lot of profile screens. You've got the main image here, which is this super cool cat. I've got my own over here that I downloaded. And then behind it, sometimes you'll see a blurred out version of the same profile image. Sometimes it's centered, sometimes it's enlarged, and just showing half the profile image. But I really like this type of design, so I thought I'd show you how to do that as well. Might put in some of these icons over here, we'll see. Okay, to get it started, we're going to draw out a rectangle, same size as the bigger one over here. Let's go from here to about there. Our rectangle's at the top in the layers panel. I'm going to find this cat image. I'm going to hold down Alt and just drag out a copy. Put that right over the top. And let's go in the layers panel, drag this right above that rectangle. Kind of get it centered here. Just like that. Let's select both of these guys. And then click Mask. That looks good. Alright, next let's drag out one more rectangle. Right over the top here. I'm going to keep it as a grayish color, and then I'm going to drop the opacity down. Something like that, maybe a white. Drop the opacity down. About there. You got to kind of play with it to get the right coloring, but I think that is probably good. Next up, I'm going to draw out this oval. And this is a weird one. I'm going to hit O for oval and just draw something out kind of like that. I'm going to drop the opacity down, and let's try to get it like they have it here. So I'll put this right over the top. I'm going to double click to put it into edit mode, and then drag my points. Just get it a little bit closer to what it is in the actual. Alright, now I've got some spots peeking out over here, so what I can do is grab my handles, pull these out, grab my handle here, pull that out a bit, same on each side, and then with the top, we'll finish it off right about there. Alright, I think that is good, maybe except for this guy here. Alright, perfect. Let's bring the opacity back up. We'll zoom out. I'm going to bring this over here, and it looks in my layers panel. It's under everything, so let's grab the oval, bring it right above everything. Let's move this guy up a bit, something about like that. Now let's drag out another copy of our cat here. So I'm going to hold down Alt, drag that out. I'm going to have to resize that for sure, but first let's drag it up and above our oval. Let's shrink this way down. I'm going to hold down Shift, drag it way down. I want it to be bigger than my oval so I can mask it and get it in there. Just a little bit bigger, but not too much. Alright, that's probably good. I'll come over here to my oval, hold down Shift, and we're going to mask it again. And there we go. Let's zoom out a bit. Alright, perfect. So now we can also create these little icons over here. Let's hit O for oval. Alt Shift. Let's get that guy like that. I'm going to zoom in. We'll get it the same size. Bring that down here. I'm going to go over here to my fills, get my eyedropper. So like that. Now let's get our phone icon. After we bring this over here. And I want this to be centered. Generally when you're dragging things in that are going to be next to other items, I wouldn't want to put it down here. I wouldn't want to put it up here. It looks much better when it's centered and it's kind of consistent with the design. Let's grab a copy of our phone here. This one's created by Anthony from the Noun project. And I'm going to want to crop this. I'm going to double click. Let's crop. Click off. Oh, we've got a little bit down at the bottom there. Let's crop that out. Let's go ahead and flip this around just like it is in their design. I'm going to hold down Shift, resize that a bit. Let's bring it up here, and where did my phone icon go? Over here in the layers panel, let's drag that way up. Let's zoom in here. And let's change it to white. There we go. Let's grab a copy of that oval. I'm going to hit Command D and then bring it over to the other side. And I'm going to want to have some consistency in the spacing between this icon and the image, and then this icon and the image. So let's see what we have over here. I'm going to click my oval, hold down Alt, and then just hover over my profile image here. Right now it's 51. I'm going to bring it to 50, and because this is not fully part of that circle yet, I'm going to drag that over as well. To make sure this is the same, I'm going to hold down Alt. It's 47. Let's just use our arrow keys to move it over until we get to 50. To make the color match, so come over here to my fills, get my eyedropper, click that. It's very satisfying when it changes. And now we're going to add the little plus. Let's zoom in, and let's start with a line. See if that works out. I'm going to hit L for line on my keyboard after I click off of everything. Draw one out here. Let's change the color to white. Oh, not on the fills, but on the border. And that's good. And I want this centered, so let's get zoomed way in here. And with that selected, I'm going to hold down Shift and select my oval here. And I want to center that. Okay, now let's just create a copy. I'm going to select it, hit Command D, and let's rotate it. Click on Rotate. Let's bring this guy over here to 0 degrees. There we go. I'm going to zoom out. And that looks good. All right, let's zoom out. Just take a look at what we have here. And there we go. All right, before we move on, I want to do something with the bottom section here. I just want to show you something really quickly. I'm going to hold down R on my keyboard. Let's just draw out a rectangle here. Let's get it all the way across for that section. I'm going to change that to white. And now let's also, right over the top of this, let's draw out another rectangle. I'm going to hit R for rectangle. This time I'm going to hold down Shift and draw out something proportional. It's about there. It's actually bigger on the other side. Let's get it a little bigger. We'll drag this guy down to match. All right, so with that one selected, I'm going to come up here to Data, go to Unsplash, search photo, and just to make it match up, let's search for umbrella. We'll say OK. That'll take a second to do its thing. We're going to need to come over here and change this to fit. That is not umbrella, so let's search again. One more time. We still have umbrella there. And so we do have some umbrellas. It might take a few searches, but you get the idea. So that's a quick way to find images for your designs instead of having to go out to Google and search. And the rest is text and icons. You guys are familiar with that, so I won't bore you. We'll move on to the next example.